I know all of you guys in the top 20%. So when you're really good at what you do, oftentimes we can get really talented feeling. And I believe that when you get really, really good at stuff, it can often be a curse. It can often hold you back and cause complacency. In this speech, I want to challenge you. I want to inspire you to think differently. I'm going to challenge the status quo. We want to get you ahead of the curve. What's up? How we doing? I know some of y'all here. We're going to go back to grade school. Who wants to pass out some little things? There you go. Pass it around. There we go. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my experience today. And I've got a nice book of content to talk about. And there's the paper clip if anybody wants it. And then we're going to be talking about this thing called the infinite mindset today. And it's based off a book we're reading at my book club that I'm going to invite all of you to at the end of this little talk here. And it's going to be fun. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. I just first off want to say thank you, Erin, for having me. So she's great. There's not a ton of leaders who go and put on awesome events like this, especially with an awesome view on a deck in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, but like really pretty, right? So that's really awesome. So everybody give it up for Erin. Give her a round of applause. She's awesome. I know all of you guys in the top 20%. So when you're really good at what you do, and I'll tell you what I used to be really good at and what I'm good at now in a second, oftentimes we can get really, really talented feeling. And I believe that when you get really, really good at stuff, it can often be a curse. It can often hold you back and cause complacency. Yes, you felt that before, yes? Okay, good. So in this speech, I want to challenge you. I want to inspire you to think differently. I'm going to challenge the status quo to what you normally do, okay? Because this is where things are going, okay? We want to get you ahead of the curve. Does that sound good? Okay, it's all about helping you grow your business, okay? Perfect. So here's what we're going to cover today if you're taking notes. So we're going to talk about the infinite mindset, why you need to start personal branding now, the 2 structural business limits that will hold you back from growing, and then one of the biggest mistakes people do in marketing. All those things we're going over today. So what I do, I'm the owner of a company that's about 5 months old called the Knowledge Gap Company. I started in January 1st of this year. I started because Brandy was my realtor. I bought a couple of houses. I have a couple investments here in Knoxville, and she was always great. And she had been caring about my podcast I had started back in July. And so she asked me to teach her how to do a podcast. And she was my first quote unquote coaching client under the table via Venmo. We started working together. We were able to do what I did in 6 months by myself. And we got her podcast started in 2 months. And then it's been growing and growing and growing. Now she has the Mom You're Not Alone brand, and she's got like wine night, I believe tomorrow night. So if you're a mom, you're invited. You should go check it out. That'll be fun. I think it's at somewhere here locally in Knoxville. So what we do at the Knowledge Gap is we help people grow their businesses through personal branding, marketing, winning in the online space. That's the idea. The reason I'm really good at this is from my prior experience. I sold books door to door for 7,000 hours. I was the top 0.5% of salespeople at a 168-year-old company of 100,000 salespeople. I was the top 1,000 ever. So I'm really, really good. I could knock on somebody's door, and these were my stats. You guys ready for this? 58% of the time, if I knocked on someone's door, they would let me in, okay? And then if they let me in, 40% of those people would buy. 40%. So the average in the door-to-door sales industry is 3%. The reason we were able to do that all over the country on straight commission, working 80+ hours a week, okay, is we got really, really good at connecting people with why we do what we do and why they do what they do. Because we were selling educational books for kids, right? So we connected on this education. And I got really good at marketing my Facebook in a very specific locality. And by the end of summer, I was in Pulaski, Virginia one year. It was a 33,000 person county, tiny county. And I had 18,000 views on one post in 11 weeks. And I didn't even finish the county. I only got halfway through it, but about every single person that was a family in that area had seen me on Facebook. And I would knock on people's doors and they'd be like, "Oh, you're Joe. My cousin bought from you." Because I was the friendly neighborhood bookman. That was my brand. Okay, so I got really good at that. I ended up recruiting about 43 students to go do that. I motivated college students, the most unmotivated people on the planet, to go sell books door to door on straight commission, working 80 hours a week as a college student. Their parents were so excited about this, by the way. We often didn't know where we were going to live till the week we got out there, and it would be in a different state, in a town you'd never been, with 0 leads whatsoever. Sound exciting? You want to do it? Ready to sign up? Let's go, right? And I did that 6 summers. It was crazy. We got really good at it. And by the age of 23, I was the second youngest district sales leader of all time. I was running a $1.2 million sales organization in 2 different states right out of college. I graduated college debt-free. I went to UT and had some accounting background too. So I'm good at the number stuff too, which is nice. Anybody like the accounting side? Yes. Let's go. We got one in the crowd. This is good.
Anything he says yes to, I'm probably saying no.
You're saying no? Okay, this will be perfect. So all I have to do is look here and I get the crowd, right? Okay, so this is what has launched me into this personal coaching consulting career. And I've got 10 clients now, and I limit myself to a certain number of clients because I do high quality premium work. That's what we're about. We're about making stuff happen really, really well for people and have incredible testimonials. So next year I can raise my prices a lot. Okay, so that's where we're at. So how does this apply to you guys? So I want to talk to you about this thing called the infinite mindset, okay? I've read this book called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. It's the book we're reading for the Lion Chasers book club. This book really changed how I looked at business, okay? So in a 168-year-old business, we had some old school ways of doing business. We were selling books in 2021 and 2 and 3. And they're selling books this summer too. Now, I think that's a losing strategy long term. I ended up leaving this company. I love the company for the principles, the morals, the values, and the leadership, and the sales skills that they teach you. But I think they should get out of books. Anybody agree? Okay. Door to door definitely still wins. I'm not saying it won't lose, but what I am saying is that if you improve the product, it could help. As I was recruiting, I heard thousands of comments from parents like you. Like, well, it's never going to work. In fact, 2020 was my best summer selling books ever. So COVID hit. We went out and sold books door to door, and it was my best summer ever. Everybody was home. Two perspectives always, right? We've got the one perspective, the two perspective. It's usually just complete polar opposites and some people in the middle, right?
I watch a lot of true crime.
I totally get it.
Basement and never be seen again.
Absolutely. That sucks to watch that all the time. Stop it.
That's all I do. That's all I do.
You're destroying your self-talk. You want to think like, what's the benefit of this happening? Okay. There's a good chance a lot of people here have been running away from the online space because it's hard or it doesn't work or you're not good at it, right? Okay. The lion's going to run after you and eat you, right? We call those lions. So a lion approaches you. You have three options. One, you can run away. The second way is you can close your eyes and pretend like it doesn't exist. But don't people do that as business owners, right? You do it all the time. Close your eyes, that doesn't exist. I'm gonna keep doing what I know how to do. Lion eats you. The best way to do it, and the only chance you really have, is to attack the lion head on. You have a chance to kill it. That's why we call it the Lion Chasers Book Club. We chase lions. Problems come up, you chase it. You get excited about it. You find reasons why it's gonna help you win instead of giving up. That's an infinite mindset. Okay, so here's how this plays out in like when you're thinking about how you're growing your business, right? So the market, I'm sure Aaron's told you all the things about the real estate market, and I think it's going up. I don't know, to be honest with you, about all of the different nitty gritties. To be honest, whether market's going up, down, you can still be successful. It doesn't matter. In fact, the people who are the most successful, they don't care what the market's doing. But the question of a finite-minded leader in the real estate space, something goes like this. How do I generate leads in business in a down market? That's like an average question. Everybody asks that question, right? Here's an infinitely better question from the top 1% of business owners with an infinite mindset, right? How do I create leads, generate business, and create a culture and community around my business so that no matter what happens in the market, my business will grow consistently regardless of market factors? How does that play out? You guys heard of Grant Cardone? You think the market affects him? Doesn't care at all. 0%. Market doesn't affect him. Why? Because he's built out a system and a brand around him, around his business, about how he helps people. And he goes on tours to teach people how to build wealth, for example, in real estate. And that's how he does it. That's not how everyone has to do it, right? But he built a brand. He has millions of followers, and he doesn't have to really generate leads anymore. He just does a simple email marketing campaign and has like a force who does the work where they show up, like we were talking about at the door. Does that make sense? But he doesn't run out. Okay, so he has a limitless lead generation. All he focuses on is how can I fulfill more orders? Isn't that a better way to do business? Yes, that's what we're trying to do with personal branding. Okay, that is the goal. Okay, here's another average thing. Hit this point home. Okay, you guys heard of Kodak? Remember that? Okay, so in 1976, Kodak had 90% of the market share in cameras, but they had finite leadership. 90%, okay? You guys heard of the digital camera? Okay, digital camera came out like 10, 15 years after that. But in 1976, when Kodak had 90% of the market share, this guy named Steven Sasson, who was a Kodak engineer, invented the digital camera for the first time. And he brought it to a board meeting, and they were looking at numbers and cash flow. And he told them about the camera. He said, hey, I've got the next big thing. You know what the leader said? That's going to make us change our entire business model. We're going to lose sales in the film industry. You're not allowed to talk about that to anybody. That doesn't exist. We're gonna close our eyes and put it under a rock and act like it didn't happen. By 2001, half of their business completely failed, didn't exist anymore. That's finite. We're doing good what we have now. We're not thinking about the future, not thinking about change. They could have 90% of the digital camera market share in 2001 and been absolutely blowing everyone out of the water, 10-year head start. So this is what we're talking about, right? Here's in 2023 why you need to start now, because if you don't have a really solid brand and marketing funnel in the next 5 or 10 years, you may just be completely outmarketed by everyone else, and you'll be spinning your wheels, working really, really hard to generate leads, and you're gonna get crushed. In 2022, you guys have heard ChatGPT?
Yeah.
So that launched. That's good that you heard of it. If you haven't, you should Google it and check it out. It's really pretty cool. So it took Netflix 3.5 years to hit 1 million users, okay? It took 10 months for Facebook. Instagram, it only took 2.5 months to have its first 1 million users. ChatGPT took 5 days. Took 5 days. But that means it's more people are online because that was all over social media. And they got 5 million in 5 days. So according to Oberlo, which is an online shopping article, 63% of shopping occasions begin online in 2023. That means people shopping for houses, 63% of them are starting online. Cruise Control Inc. There's a rule of 7. The research shows if someone sees you 7 times and generally for about 7 hours of total content, they will know, like, and trust you and buy from you. And the beauty of that is you don't have to physically be there. Call that concept multiplying your time. YouTube is the #2 search engine on the planet behind Google. Over 43% of people now, which 10 years ago this is not the case, listens to podcasts regularly. All right, more finite objections is I hate social media. I hate recording myself. I don't want to try to post. Trying to post online is a waste of time. It doesn't work. I promise you that if you've tried this before, you just have a knowledge gap. That's why it's called the knowledge gap company. You just don't know how to do it correctly yet. And that yet is really important, underline star. You can learn how to do it if you'd like to, but you got to have a willpower to want to do it. This is what I do with my clients, okay? We're trying to solve 2 problems, and they're systemic business growth problems, and they will always exist. Okay, problem number 1, lead generation. You don't have a business without leads, correct? Okay, oftentimes business goes up when the leads are easy, and their business goes down when leads are bad. There's always cycles in business, but we want to avoid that at all possible, correct? The second problem is time. I work with a lot of realtors and I work with a lot of business owners, and they're like spending so much time in their business that they're like gonna pass out. Like they're stressed to the max. They can only fulfill so many orders. Their limit on their business is actually their leadership and the ability to lead a team. They cannot fulfill more orders than your time. There's 24 hours in a day, and somebody's like Grant Cardone, in sort of the billion, industry, he's got the same time as you. How's he doing it? The answer is leadership, leading a team. So those are the 2 problems you're always going to have, and you want to have a sustainable solution, a repeatable solution for all time. That's the goal. That's what I help people with. It just so happens happens to be personal branding for a lot of my clients, because there's millions of realtors almost. Right? There's a billboard for a real estate every corner, and there's so many realtors, and you're all doing the same thing. So how do you differentiate yourself? How do you make this different? Okay. So the biggest problem that I see my clients do is simply this: they work in the business too much. Okay, if you know what working in the business is, it means actually showing the house, actually doing the phone calls, all of that kind of stuff, like working in the business. If you didn't work, the business doesn't exist. That's working in the business, okay? Great when you're starting, time suck when you've been doing it for a while and you have some cash flow. What they need to be doing, the solution for this, is spending more time working on the business, okay? I like to use an example of a Honda Civic. Imagine you're driving a good old Honda Civic, 100 miles an hour. And first off, parts are flying off already, but that's how people run their business. They have no free time. They don't have time for an oil change. Imagine if you never took an oil change on your car. What happens?
Burn it up.
It explodes.
It stops on the freeway.
Stops on the freeway.
To pick you up.
Well, in the infinite game, you only lose if you run out of resources and willpower. If you go 100 miles on your Civic all the time, you're running out of resources and it's running out of willpower, and that's your business, right? Imagine if you never got gas. How far are you gonna get? So when you work on the business, it's like stopping for an oil change. It's like filling up your gas tank, okay? It's like sleep. A lot of my clients don't sleep much. That's bizarre to me. I hope you guys probably do, right? Top 20%, yes? I hope so. No? Okay. That's okay. That's why we're talking about it, right? We want to switch our mind. We start working on the business, okay? So one of the things that a lot of business owners, especially when you get in real estate, obviously, you go get a license, but they don't really have a class on like, what the heck is a marketing funnel? And I'm sure most of you guys, or all of you probably know this. This might be really simple for you. For some of you, maybe it's totally brand new. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake of the marketing funnel and just overall explain it really quick. Does that sound good? Okay, so marketing funnel, you can kind of see there, you got about 6 categories. The top is just a bunch of random people who've never heard of you. The next part's basically your online presence, social media, website, your brand online. Circle the next one, community and referrals. This is the biggest mistake that we're gonna go over in a second. This is where realtors start, right? You have a community of friends you can get referrals from. That quickly dries up, right? That's why networking groups are good. But this is the part that people miss when they're trying to do online social media stuff, okay? The next part, right, is the sales funnel. Everybody knows how to do that part, so we're not gonna talk about that much today. You're all top 20%. You know how to get somebody closed on a house, yes? Okay, and probably you can teach everybody in the room. So the next part is the client process, right, which they're fulfillment. You're helping do all of the things to make sure that they get moved in, all that kind of stuff. And then the nurtures when you get leads from them again, and all that kind of stuff. That's essentially encompassing all your business without going into the accounting, administrative type stuff. This is the type of stuff that business owners should be focusing on. If you're focusing on anything else, you should hire somebody as soon as you possibly can. Anything that's not this is probably a waste of your time. It's important, but you can hire somebody for less money than what you'd be making if you spent more time on this, okay? So specifically for social media and personal branding, where people struggle is that community. They will post online, they'll have advertisements. We all know here that if you buy some advertisements, you're gonna get some leads, right? But you're always buying advertisements, you're always getting leads, and that's fine. That's great for cash flow. But if we think of an infinite mindset, can we create a system where we generate leads without having to pay for them? Can we create a community around what we're doing that people want to talk to us about our business, right? So for example, Mom, You're Not Alone is a great podcast, and it's not salesy. Ads are salesy. Brandy still does ads, but Mom, You're Not Alone is not salesy. It's an excuse to talk to everybody. It's your ticket to get a keynote speech. Does that make sense? It's in everyone's ears, and they're like, wow, before I even know Brandy's a realtor, oh wait, she said on the podcast she is a realtor. She's talking about free value-added stuff for moms. If you're a mom, isn't Brandy kind of your person now? That makes sense. You're nurturing people, and then she drives traffic to a Facebook group where people are like building each other up, and they're always seeing Brandy, always top of mind, right? And then they drive to wine night for moms, often single moms, right? Who doesn't want to do that? They're on the mission of building wealth, getting their time back, and living a life worth living. Because the problem that she's solving, a transformation, which is not often taught and not often given in social media presence, is the transformation. She's helping them have a better life. And there's other moms that come too, because it appeals to them. But she focuses on those really traumatic events because she's gone through it. She wants to help people. Everyone knows why she does what she does when they listen to her podcast. And the reason people buy from you is a personal relationship, right? It's why you do what you do. It's not what you do. Everybody knows you're a realtor. There's a million realtors. Why? You're a realtor, so what? They don't really buy how you do it as much. I mean, it's important if you do a good job or a bad job. But really, they'll work with you forever if they care why you do what you do. If they can get that quickly, if you can communicate that efficiently online, before they meet you, they'll know why you do what you do, then they'll ask you about it, and they're gonna work with you. Does that make sense? The number one reason people don't do this, you ready? Knowledge gaps. We're gonna list them off. I don't know how to post. I don't know what to post. I don't know how to develop a strategy for content. I don't know how to make the content sound like me. I suck on camera. Don't know how to edit or produce quality content. I don't know how to increase following and get more views, or like somebody at one of my workshops post on Instagram. Bless her heart. You know, well, you can learn all those things. You can learn all those things. And that's what I do with my clients. I help them bridge that knowledge gap a lot faster instead of wasting a bunch of time. Because if you try to go spend the 6 months I spent bashing my head against the wall, building a podcast from scratch, never having done it before, trust me, you will want to quit. In episode 7, 97% of people quit a podcast because it's so hard by yourself. And my goal is that everyone I work with doesn't quit. That's what we go for. Because if we can bridge that knowledge gap, we can help with that frustration and help with the fear, and even help you make some more money through it, through sponsorships and things like that. Okay, so here's the solution, right? The solution is personal branding. If you're not personal branding going forward, people are going to start crushing you in that space because everybody else is going to start going in that space. Just like in California. I mean, if you don't have a podcast in California, it's like people don't hear about you. It's ultra, it's going to become more ultra and ultra competitive. Sevier County is the most traveled to place in the country. People are moving to Tennessee like crazy from all over, right? So you guys know why this is important. The value of doing personal branding is going to help you with that time. It's going to solve both problems, right? So you're going to solve the problem of lead generation because you're going to have people hearing about you all the time. You can send it out. You have an excuse to call a bunch of people. You have a community where you can generate leads organically, right? It's also going to solve the time because you can record something, send it out to everybody, and not have to have the same conversation 100 times. It solves both. That's why I love it. I spend about 60% of my week working on my business because it's automated. People can hear about it, check this out, send this thing. And I do my personal touches when I actually need to call people, my sales process. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's one piece of application that we're gonna do, and then we'll do some Q&A, okay? So everyone's got your little sheet right there. There's a few questions that I want you to do. I want you to write down here, okay? I want you to do it because one of the most impactful things that Simon Sinek talks about in his book is this thing called a just cause. It's essentially your why. And I know all of you probably read The One Thing by Gary Keller. I read that book this year, really great book. You know, and you need to have a just cause or a why, right? This is why people work with you. So you probably know that. So go ahead and write that down for me. It can be your personal one. That's probably what you should do right now. Your business one, if you have a team or a partner, that's something you guys should do together. But just write down your personal one, why you're doing what you're doing. What's your just cause? What are you trying to change about the world? What's the problem you're trying to solve in the world? Because again, this is why people work with you. The reason I asked the question, what are you struggling the most with your business, is because my ideal client is a business owner. And when I make content, I want to know what you struggle with. So I make a podcast or make an episode, you'll like it. And you'll be like, thank you. So you always do that every single time you have one of these talks or you meet with somebody. You get feedback so you can make better content for them next time. What we would do is we would sit down, talk about your idea, and basically formulate it so it would be in a place where it would actually win, and you would not be like plagiarizing someone else's idea, and helping you with 2 or 3 words communicate that. And then how do you launch one? How do you prepare to launch one? How do you monetize it within 6 months so it's not like a money suck? How do you get keynote speeches? All that kind of stuff. How to think through your idea, building out all the infrastructure. So I coach Brandy on like how to write your scripts, how to make the content interesting. Yeah, so I help with all that. So we go through like little steps, right? We go through a month of just planning. We go through a month of content creation, then we launch month 3 and so on and so forth. We can chat. Thank you all for filling out that meticulous form, by the way. I really appreciate it. I see everybody's busy at work. That means we're going to connect. This will be great. You'll probably get an email inviting you to a Facebook group and stuff like that, so which will be nice. It's a long-term play. It's about the most frustrating thing at the beginning. I tell my clients that you're going to want to quit in about 4 weeks. Yep, it gets hard. It all just hits you. That's why having somebody there to help is really nice.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me. Yes, yes, absolutely. This episode is sponsored by Campus Cuts by Monica. Monica has been cutting hair for University of Tennessee students for more than 37 years. If you're a guy and you're going to UTK or you live within 15 to 20 minutes of campus, Monica is the place to go if you want a worry-free, stylish haircut that will make you stand out with the ladies. Did I mention she has a pool table and refreshments while you wait? Follow Campus Cuts by Monica on Instagram and book an appointment by calling her today.